Welcome to our show, Old is Gold. Igolide endala enexabiso. Siyayazi igolide indlela enexabiso ngayo, and it's so precious. So today igama lam qala ndinguSybil wakwaXapa. Today we are going to talk about ijeni yokhulisa abantwana abazukulwana bethu. Indlela esibaspoila ngayo abazukulwana bethu. So we'll talk about the whole journey.
Yes, indeed. We know that in today's age, many times grandparents are called upon to raise their grandchildren, and this is the topic that we will be discussing today. We were interviewing Bettie Nieuwoudt, who is the manager of child welfare Stellenbosch, and she's going to tell us about her experiences and the challenges that there are when grandparents have to raise their children. My name is Joan, Daries, and I'm your presenter for today, along with my co-presenter Sybil, whom I've known for many years. So, Sybil, we are both grandparents now.
Oh, yes,
When we met each other, we were mothers of young kids, but now we've got grandchildren.
Joan.
What was it like when your little Nqobile was born?
Oh, what a joy in the family.
Yes.
First, I was very bitter, I must say, when my son told me that, Mama, because he didn't want to tell me and all that he's going to have a baby until Minentle's mom was 8 months. Because they were at school in Port Elizabeth, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So he was duck and diving. So he told my sister, and my sister phoned me to say, hey, I want to tell you something, but don't tell your hubby right now. And I said, what is that? She said, I'm on my way, I'm driving. Hey, I was so worried and curious,
Of course.
I said, what is it? So she came and she just laid the cards just like that. Your son doesn't want to tell you direct. So you are going to have a grandchild. I jump up so high. I said, I sent him to school to study. And there now, that university is like a factory. It's making babies and so on. But eventually,
Of course.
we paid the damages.
Mm-hmm.
And, what a cute baby.
Oh, I know. She's
She's
beautiful.
8 now today.
Yes.
What a cute baby.
Yeah.
She was here in June and Joan.
I saw that. Well, you've only got one.
I am spoiling her. I can't help myself.
Yeah, of course.
And she looks like us.
Yeah, no,
That's
I
the
saw
worst
that. She
part
looks
of
like
it.
that.
She looks like my husband.
Yeah.
And my husband used to cry and said, oh, I wish they can just give us this child.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
What a joy.
Yes.
She brought joy to us.
So you can imagine, Sybil, how I feel. I've got 14 grandchildren. And they are, yes, and they are, it's just so wonderful to have these young children in our lives. And we know, Sybil, as grandparents, that if anything should happen to the parents, we would take on the role of parents in a heartbeat, because that is how much we love our grandchildren. So let's look at the collage. Talk to us about some of the pictures with you and your little Nqobile.
Wow. Look at that one. She's so gorgeous. Can you see?
Yeah, I like the one where she's a little baby, hey?
Yes. You know, that as you can see her smile, she was enjoying us too.
Yes.
Look at the other one.
Mm-hmm. There's the one where
My
she's
granddaughter.
walking. Did you teach her to walk?
Yes.
Really? Oh, lovely.
You know, when she was starting to walk, the first step, we all clapped hands to her. And look at the way she smiled, because she wanted to run the whole house.
Yeah, no,
Look at my daughter. Look
Yes.
at my daughter.
You think Vuvu's a mother, hey?
Everyone will think my daughter is her mom. Look at her.
I know.
Really, it's a joy to have them.
Yeah.
And also, we don't need to spoil them like what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Because my son will always say, Mama, don't spoil her like this, like this. Yeah, she needs to know what is wrong and what is right.
Yeah. But at least, as grandparents, that's you think you can spoil. You can send them home to the parents when they get out of hand. So, well, look at my tribe. I've got a whole. I mean, just look at them. Oh, but I love each one of them so much. And that little one, I'm telling you,
I can see the little one.
She's a minx, eh?
Wow.
The other day they came to visit us, and Derek and I were lying on the bed watching TV, and she came to the room and she clambered up onto the bed, and she came to lie next to us and said, I love you, Ma, I love you, Pa, kiss, and so on. And then afterwards she was quiet, and then she said, actually, I just want your phone. That is how she is. But really, grandparents grandchildren are such a blessing to grandchildren.
And Joan, I can imagine, I can understand when someone said, I never got love from my parents.
Yeah.
That is why today we've got a lot of kids who are on drugs, because they didn't get that love.
Yeah.
Some of them, not all of them. Some love means a lot to our children.
Yeah. But I mean, the fact life has become so tough these days, with parents having to work and having to work away from home, and the grandparents are the only stability in their lives. Like, for instance, when Cecily was young, I don't know what I would have done without my mother. I mean, my mother took her to school, and it actually made a very big difference in my mother's life too, because now she was driving Cecily to school and back and to school. So it's really, I really miss my mom so much, and I'm just so very glad that Cecily has such a good relationship with my mother, and actually brought her children. She was bringing her children to my mom all the time so that they could know her and have a good relationship with her. So grandchildren are such a blessing.
And Joan, on that point, I'm so pleased that my mother is still alive.
Yeah.
And she's going to be 87 in October, and I want to invite her friends just to have a lunch. Just to acknowledge her, because she's been through a lot. My father died. My mother was about 32, 33 when my father died. You can imagine.
Yeah.
So we want to give her all the love.
Yeah, that's lovely. Well, my mom passed last year, so that was a bit of a tough time for us. We will talk about that in another episode, because you lost your pet too, so you've had your own grief. Yeah. So when we come back from the break, we'll talk more about the role of grandparents as parents, the challenges that they are, and we hope that you will stay with us. You are listening to Oldies Gold on the People's Channel, CTV.
So welcome back, Oldies Gold viewers. This morning we are interviewing Bettie Nieuwoudt, who is the manager of Stellenbosch Child Welfare. And she has a whole lot of experience in working with families and has a lot of experience in this particular issue. So Bettie, welcome to Oldies Gold. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning, Joan. Thank you very much. Yes, I think we find ourselves now on the same side of the fence, entering the year that we can call ourselves golden oldies, and I think with great pride as
Yes.
well. I remember my dad, when he was also where I am now in my years, and he would be invited to attend an old person's function. He would say, "Who's your old person? I'm not
Yeah.
an older person."
Exactly.
So, yeah, and before one realizes it, you're there. It
Yes.
feels like yesterday. So yeah, no, thank you very much. My name is Bettie Nieuwoudt. I'm the director of Stellenbosch and District's Family Services. And our main purpose is to look after our families within our communities. And we changed our name to exactly encompasses what we actually mean by the family as a system.
Yes.
And things change so much, Joan, that we can't really differentiate now anymore to say, it is the grandparents living there and the children is living there. So, yeah, I'm working relentlessly to fulfill this ideal, I think, of all of us, just to strengthen our families so
Family.
that
Yes. Yeah.
we can help them to function as a family,
Yes.
as healthy as possible,
Yes.
with all the setbacks we have.
Yes. So, Betty, we're talking about when grandparents have to take on the role as primary caregivers for their grandchildren. Under what circumstances would this happen legally, where the courts actually give custodianship to grandparents?
I think it would be good just to bring to the viewers' attention that there's a difference between the care positions of children. And we speak about alternative care. When a child is within a family system and there's no legal action taken to safeguard the care position of the child, it is just like a normal family system. It is a guardianship is a right that can only be given by a high court at this point in time.
Mhm.
We hope that that function will also be delegated to children's courts, because that is a big gap in protecting the rights of children, especially the persons in whose care the child or the children are. Be it a grandparent, be it an uncle or aunt. But to come to the grandparents, if we speak about the protection system or statutory services, and alternative care in that sense would be foster care.
Okay.
But foster care is not guardianship.
Okay.
So if a child is placed within the care of the grandparents, because that is most of the time the situation, the grandparent is only the foster parent. So we then still have to apply to a high court to award guardianship over the child. And guardianship will then be the right to give consent to operation, to marriage, all other legal things that a foster parent doesn't normally have.
Okay.
We don't have really a cut-off age.
Mhm.
Every case is dealt with on its own merits. If it's a grandparent that is quite young, remember many of our grandparents is quite young, there's no question about it. But it would be irresponsible to place a child in the care of an elder person who suffers of health conditions, or if it's a troublesome child and we expect a grandparent to. But Joan, I think we must be clear. Grandparents felt always responsible to look after their grandchildren.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a biological instinct that all grandparents have. Yeah. And we must respect that. Yes. What we try to do is to say, what is the succession plan? If the child lives with the grandparents and anything happens, like we experience now with COVID-19, what is the succession plan that would be the less disruptive for the child? And that many a time would give some peace to the grandparent.
Yes, and that is so important. Thank you for explaining that, because we know that in many of our homes, grandparents are taking on this role without the support, and in many ways, you know, when we spoke before, you said it actually becomes abusive, a situation of abuse, of elder abuse. And you cited some times when this happens quite often in the
Yes.
work that you do.
Yes.
What would consist of elder abuse in terms of this particular relationship?
That is a tendency that's quite worrisome to us. Some 70% of all the domestic violence cases reported for the period of January to March this year was abuse against elder persons. And the abuse is not from children, it is many times from, it can be from age 17, then the person is still being recognized as a child, but then up to like your 24, 27-year-old youth that would abuse their grandparents. And everything is around money, to try to get hold of the older person's pension, and, you know, to sustain their own drug addiction. Yes. So that was the concern, and that would be either assault of the elder person. And lately, we also see the tendency where the fight is about the accommodation, the house that they co-live in. So they would try to evict the elder person. Because you can go to an old age home, or you can find alternative accommodation for yourself. So that is really quite worrisome. Or they would come and say, my mother suffers from dementia, she can't look after herself, just to get the elder person out of their accommodation.
Yes, that's so sad. But Betty, thank you so much for giving our viewers such good information relating to a topic that is very dear to older persons. We are going to have a later show on elder abuse, where we would really give the seniors the helpline number that they can call when they feel they are suffering any abuse. So Betty, thank you very much for participating in our show. We want to carry it over into another season, and then we can talk some more about how to keep families integrated and have families for all generations, where everybody feels included and functioning as part of the family, because it's such a joy to have the extended families give such security to children and to the elderly members of the family. But then, of course, we need to work on issues of poverty and unemployment, so that we can make families really live as units, as a system that works, and not just not dysfunctional.
May I just conclude, Joan, maybe to say that the viewers must understand that the elder person is also protected by law.
Yes.
Under the Older Persons Act. Yes. And it's not just that we left them out in the cold. So we have a responsibility toward our elder people. It's such a privilege. But thank you, and thank you to the viewers.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back to our show, Old is Gold, on the People's Channel, CTV. And today we're discussing a very important topic. We know that in the circumstances that we live today, grandparents often have to take over the role of parents in the lives of their grandchildren. And we heard from Betty in our previous segment that it's often not an easy thing to do. But today right now we have another side of the story.
Nqobile brought us a video from her grandparents.
What is your name?
My name is Margaret Nqobile Suseni.
And how old are you?
I'm 84 years old.
So, how did you feel having to raise me at such an old age?
First time it was difficult. but as it goes, then I get used to that.
Ne? So, did you love having to raise a young, like a small child again, being so old as you are?
Yes, when I get used to her, I treat her as my child, not as as my granddaughter.
Okay. So, what was the difficult part of raising me? What was so challenging in raising me?
The only challenge is that I'm a pensioner,
Uh,
and I couldn't get what she wanted to make her. I mean, I couldn't get I tried to so that she can have everything, but unfortunately I couldn't. But she grows like
so, if you were to do it all over again, would you do it again?
no,
Why?
I'm too old.
Okay. Last question. How much do you love me?
So much.
Ooh, ngimamele kamnandi le video kamakhulu. And I like that uthi soza phinde. She will never, never.
yes.
Nqobile, tell us more. Why Makhulu said she will never,
She's
do
done.
it again.
I think because she's 84 years old, so
Oh.
she's retired,
Yes,
she's done. She
definitely.
no longer has the energy for it, no.
Mhm.
So I think for me, you know, sometimes when you raise grandchildren, you only raise them for a certain amount or period of time. So I think for me, she raised me from such a young age when I was a year old till, and she's still raising me. So now she's like, I'm done. I'm totally done.
At
Yes.
84 years.
Yes.
Wow. And Nqobile, tell us more. How do you measure
Yes.
your success, Sisi?
Yes, I think for me, I think now it gave me a point to prove rather. I have to work harder, not only because of I had less or was given less, but also for my grandmother. So everything that I do now, I do it for her so she can be proud and say she did that. You know, I think it's different when you parent at such an old age and you think you don't have it anymore. So for her to see me grow up to be such a beautiful young lady and
Yes, and you are.
yes, thank you
They
very
do.
much.
They
So I
do.
think it's a test to that everything I do for her. So when she rests, God forbid, but she can be able to say that I did such an amazing job, even at such an old age. So
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
Would you say she spoiled you more
Very
than the
much.
others?
Very much. So much that her kids get jealous because I get spoiled often. They know. Me and her. Like this.
So she's got favors.
Yes,
Makhulu.
me. Everyone complains. Why Nqobile this? Why not? I was like, guys, let it go. Just let it go.
You see, that's the problem with Omakulu. That's the big challenge.
Yes.
Because she will love this one and spoil this one and always give her money.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
do
Oh,
this and
you know
that.
that little snuck in?
Oh,
yes,
yes.
yes.
Oh,
All the
yes.
time.
Oh,
All the time,
yes.
yes.
But that's really lovely because you also spoke before you came on the show about how you missed out on the outings because your grandma doesn't have the energy.
Yes.
But clearly she gave you something so valuable in terms of her time and
Yes.
attention to make you the beautiful woman that you are
Yes.
today.
Yes.
What would you like to say to your granny?
You guys are gonna make me cry on TV. I can say a lot. I think for me, I never saw it as, I was at a disadvantage because of the love that she has given me so much. I think me and my grandmother are the bestest of friends. She's my world. She's not my grandmother, she's my mother because she raised me. My mother is no longer on this earth. So for me, she's my heart, you know? I wish she could just stay on this earth forever with me. She's the best grandmother, best mother anyone could ever ask for.
Oh,
so I just want to
beautiful.
say I love you so much, Granny.
Oh, wonderful.
Do you have a grandfather?
Yes, I do. My biological grandfather passed away, I think 2002. So right now I live with my step grandfather, and yes, it's just nice at home. It's nice to be with old people because the energy is different. You know?
Okay, that's
So sweet. I like
what
that.
What a lovely positive story.
Yeah.
That's really, really great. So, yes, we see the other side of the story now of a very successful grandparenting
Yes.
effort. And, you know, we would want to say to your granny too, you did an absolutely wonderful job of this
Thank you.
beautiful young woman that's
Thank you
sharing
so
her
much.
story with us today.
Mhm.
So as we wrap up our show for today, we started off with Betty Nieuwoudt
Mhm.
telling us, you know, some really challenging and difficult stories,
Mhm.
and we're ending off with a very, very positive, positive story.
Mhm.
What would you like to say to her, Granny?
Nqobile kukhulu endinokuthetha
Uh,
ndikuchazele ngoku because myself ndingugranny.
yes, yes.
I've got daughters as well. So uthi umakhulu wakho ndiyambonga.
Thank you.
Yes,
Ngiyabonga.
ndiyambonga, and she did a lot. Honestly, ndiyambonga.
Enkosi mama.
And with that, we end our show for today, Old is Gold, the show on the People's Channel where we talk particularly to senior citizens. And we show the world that we're not just counting our years, but we're making every year count.